Today I'm going to talk to you about what the hell Zepp is, why it's on your phones, and why the Amazfit app has literally just disappeared overnight. Welcome back to another episode of STU'S Reviews. Some of you may have woken like I did this morning, reached for your phone and gone to open the Amazfit app to check your sleep, only to find it wasn't there. Instead, there's some very strange looking app called Zepp. Your thoughts might have gone something like this. What? I didn't download this app. Have I been hacked? Is this an invite into some Black Mirror-esque cult? Is this some governmental Illuminati COVID 5G mind control app that has wiped my memory over the past 12 hours, commanding me to go on a killing spree, ending with my wife who is now lying in a bloody pool next to me? Of course, it was none of those things, but the truth is still rather strange. Ultimately, it boils down to the fact that Amazfit have rebranded their apps as Zepp, which is unusual. But that means if you've bought anything from my recommendations, such as the GTS, the GTR, the Verge, the Stratos, the Pace, the BIP, and for those that are keen-eyed and buy just on what I'm wearing, the Amazfit T-Rex, which I've yet to review and I still haven't gotten round to it, but I will do. If you've bought any of those, you will no longer be using the Amazfit app. It's now called Zepp. So that's a little bit confusing, especially if you didn't realise that it was changing to this and you had automatic updates turned on. So what is Zepp, I can hear you say? Well, Zepp was a company founded in around 2010 that focused on making trackers for certain sports such as tennis or golf, and the sensors could be plugged directly into either like the rackets or the clubs to track certain things throughout your sporting day in those events. Now, they were bought by Huami, or Huami, however you pronounce that company, basically the company that owns Amazfit. They were purchased by them in 2018, I believe it was, and since then, it's lain dormant. They haven't really done much with Zepp at all, until randomly, right now, when they've just decided to bring the brand to the forefront of the Amazfit line and change everything. A very odd move, in my eyes, indeed. But a statement from Amazfit says, in the current brand plan, Amazfit will be a smart wearable hardware product brand, whereas Zepp will be a platform for the management of personal well-being that will offer much more content in the future. Okay, fine. So the physical hardware side of products, they'll be called Amazfit, and anything to do with the software will be called Zepp. But hold on just 1 second, because that's not correct either. They've literally just announced and released 2 smartwatches with the Zepp branding. What is going on? This just keeps getting more confusing. Now, the 2 new watches are the Zepp E, and they haven't given them 2 separate names. They've just called them the Zepp E Square and the Zepp E Round. This just gets more and more confusing, and even then, there's still more confusion because the Zepp E Square is literally just a rehashed version of the GTS. You get the specs side by side, and they're damn near the same watch. The difference being the Zepp E Square has a little square button instead of a round button, and apparently a slightly shorter battery life. But they run the same software, apparently, and they look identical, nearly, and they pretty much have almost identical specs. And from a software perspective, both of them use the same app, which, although might have had a bit of a rebranding and a bit of a software update over the past 6 months, hasn't changed at all with the rebranding of Zepp. They've just removed all mention of Amazfit from the app. Now, the only information I can find online as to when it'll be available in the UK, I found on some odd news site that said it was going to be available in the UK from September the 1st, priced at £209. But you can already pre-order it in the US, which is $249. Now, if they're both the same price, fine, but let's just analyse the Zepp E Square versus the GTS. The GTS I can pick up at the moment for about £100. This means that they're adding £100 on top of that for the Zepp branding. If we ignore the square one for just a second though, the round one, it actually looks like a newer and nice product with curved glass edges, certainly almost a combination between the GTR and GTS, and actually I'm quite excited to have a look at this one. I mean, I'm no marketing genius, but wouldn't it have been a better idea to have amalgamated the Zepp brand into the Amazfit brand instead, which in my eyes, certainly in the West, was becoming well known for being great value fitness trackers. Instead, they've just thrown that away and have brought this brand new branding in that doesn't make much sense. It may be that they're just trying to create a brand that to them possibly feels more friendly in the Western markets. I don't know. But adding £100 onto the price tag of something like a GTS and just calling it the Zepp E seems like a very, very bold and, to be quite frank, disappointing move indeed. I did try to do some digging and find out whether or not they'd left the branding as Amazfit back in China, and being here in the UK and not reading Chinese or speaking Chinese, that's quite difficult. But from the digging that I did, I could find a listing on the Xiaomi app store, essentially, in China, that lists the app as Zepp. So this is a worldwide branding change. So maybe it's not just focused on the Western markets, but worldwide, who knows? I just don't really know what direction or why Amazfit have decided to do this now of all times, especially when you consider they've literally just released a bunch of products with the Amazfit branding. The T-Rex, you've got the Power Buds, you've got the Zen Buds, which haven't even yet shipped, you've got the Amazfit X, all of those have the Amazfit branding. So why truncate things? Why segregate a bizarre Zepp branding? I'm just so confused. I am just so confused right now. And maybe watching this, you might have a better understanding of what the hell is going on. And if you do, I would love to hear from you in the comments below, as I'm sure plenty of viewers right now still don't understand what's going on. I mean, look, I'll pass judgment properly if I get hold of a Zepp E smartwatch. And if you want me to, let me know in the comments, and I might just get one and compare it to the GTS, but only if you guys want to see that video. But I will pass judgment when that comes. At the moment, all I can say is that I just don't quite understand what's happening. But in conclusion, is this something to be worried about? Well, in the wise words of Douglas Adams, don't panic, because at the moment it's just a change of name in the app. But does this have bad omens for the future? Who knows? I will catch back with you in 6 months' time, and hopefully the answer will have been no. And if you want to find out what I do think of the Zepp E smartwatch, if I get hold of either of them, or if you want to find out what this change has been like in 6 months' time, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. But other than that, I'll see you back for another episode of STU'S Reviews soon.